This is a fireside chat with Priya Singh and Mohit Dubey, co-founders of Chalo, and this is also hosted by PK, so I'd like to request PK to come back on stage and take over.
So it's my pleasure to invite on stage some people I've known for a very, very long time. You know, from the time they moved from a small city like where I come from Bhopal and Indore, and come to Bombay and create a very large company, which I'm sure a lot of you used, which started as CarWale. And they're not just doing CarWale, merging it, and then taking it public. They started a second company, again in the mobility space, and picked up one of the hardest problem there is in mobility, which is the hop-on, hop-off bus. You know, the bus where you pay a cent, and then you get off and get on anytime you like. So we'll talk to them both and talk about a lot of things. So Mohit and Priya, please join me on stage.
Yeah, center of the universe.
Yeah, center of the universe, that's correct. So Mohit and Priya, you know, coming from a small town to the big bad city of Bombay, how did it all start?
How did it all start? So, you know, we went to Bhopal because I had a US visa. And Priya said that before you go to US, you know, let's spend a few days in Bhopal. And I happened to visit a small village. Someone died there because it was monsoon. They could not take the guy to hospital. So my answer was like, you know, we are going to go to US only to make money. And people are dying here because they can't access roads. So we stayed back building telemedicine. So I went to Priya and I asked her, how about, you know, doing this? She said, Jo tumhari marji ho karo, matlab, US or Bhopal doesn't really matter, right? And she just said, why don't you go and do it? And that's how it started. Bombay was a city we are more familiar with. So at some stage when it failed, the telemedicine failed for 2-3 years. I took a train unreserved seat, I still remember it, you know, came to Bombay, stayed with a friend, figuring out what to do. And that's how it really started, you know. And yeah, but Priya can tell you more, she lived those days as well. Yeah.
But CarWale, selling cars, at that time people didn't buy cars and you were trying to sell cars online?
Oh, yeah.
And people actually bought cars online?
Priya and I went together to at least 50, 60 dealerships, you know, selling them a website. And it was not just a website then. This was 2004, 2005. You had to sell a concept, then you had to sell them a PC, and then you also sell them a operator who will, you know, work on that computer to do all that you're supposed to do.
Talk about full service.
Yeah, that's right. So you had to sell all of those.
Let me ask a question on the audience. How many of you have bought a car online, purely online? I can only see 2 hands today.
Yeah.
Talk about being ahead.
So I bought my car when we were in Bhopal, and I'm very wheel enthusiast. So I thought I'll buy my car. I was 25, and the hassle I have gone through. Like I finalized some car, some other car came, and with some other model name, and I kept on fighting with the dealership for like 3 months that I wanted LX. You gave me LXI. And he said, Madam, rakh lijiye na.
Ek I extra.
It's just a number, letter error. It's okay, it's LXI only. And I said, no, I wanted Alto, you gave me Zen. He said, no, Alto is not there. So it was like back 2003, I remember. And we have been hassled in the entire journey. And when Mohit and I thought that, okay, let's do this model, after experimenting so many things for a couple of years, then I think it worked really well. And then meeting the dealership and going to them and seeing their struggle, because it was my struggle as a customer, but their struggle to sell a right car and getting the right car and bringing the availability to the platform, which is uniform for all, was very, very difficult for them. So I think one is experimentation.
So I have to confess, I bought a car online for my uncle. I gifted him a car. Maruti Suzuki started an online ordering process. And I actually went ahead and bought a car on a credit card from Dubai to be delivered to him in Meerut. They actually wrapped it up,
That's right.
you know, and delivered it to him.
It's all happening now.
Yeah,
My car came from Indore to Bhopal.
It was such a surprise for me. And this is 10 years ago, 12 years ago probably. And the idea was just go online and order. And now this is a different process. It was not seamless. I got 5 phone calls to confirm I was real. like you really want it, sachi mein ye wala color chahiye, that kind of stuff, all those things happen. But truthfully, it did happen online in that sense. Yeah. So you were far ahead of the time. Then, let's go fast forward. You went ahead, then you merged with car trade, and then it went public and all that. सब कुछ बढ़िया हो गया था, पैसे बन गए थे. Why start again?
Why start again?
So many people ask this question. Then why
so I'm not the only one.
Why did you not go to the world tour? Because you have so much money. And especially when you belong
Priya,
from a
you are
middle
telling
class.
that you have a lot of money. Okay, just notice.
Especially a lot of money means like you didn't have that kind of money.
More than what you wanted.
My father and mother were professors, middle class family. Mohit's parents are like very middle class, government jobs. So when you get money, everybody around you is middle class because they are your friends and family. And they think that you have got huge amount of money. Why do you have to work again? And I was just speaking to Vani and I said, I want to ask a few questions. And she said, please. And I was asking how many hours you work in a day. And she said that 15, 16 hours, 14, 15 hours. And I said, do people tell you that slow down? And do people tell you that you need to work less? And she's, of course, she's very smart. She understood. She said, we need to meet to discuss this. And that's how people think that you have money, you should do a lifestyle change, and you should do world tour, and you should go and, just uplift your status, which is, I'm sure you are the same.
No, absolutely not. I'm sitting here. I'm sitting here.
But why to ask this question? Because people don't build businesses just
नहीं
because
भाई मैं तो कह रहा हूँ इतनी you solved a very big problem. सारी दुनिया का ठेका आप लोगों ने लगाया to solve all the problems. So why did you pick up a hard problem like doing buses for God's sake?
It was not that big and that hard.
Then you found out that it was.
So there was an article in 2015. I remember there was an article in newspaper about that Uber has become India's world's #1 company with $168 billion something valuation. And we were discussing sitting in a CarWale office that, Uber doesn't own any car. And they have become world's #1 car company. And we were discussing that now cars is a problem. Car is a problem on the road. What next? And how do we solve this transportation? And then I think all of us were car enthusiasts, like wheel enthusiasts. And we thought, let's solve that public transport because we live in Bombay and traffic, of course, we can't compete with Bangalore, but we have seen enough. So we thought, okay, let's.
Why were people laughing? The people were laughing, correct?
They're going to put me on spot after this session.
I see.
So
I see. Did you comment about Bangalore's traffic by any chance?
I love Bangalore. So we thought that let's solve public transport. And but as you say that personally, I didn't see that this is coming. It's like iceberg in front of Titanic. That okay, it is going to be real hard problem because we started working in public transport. Mohit, you can also speak.
No, I have a question for Mohit. I'll come back to that. That dynamic. I'll talk about that one separately. But Mohit, I have a confession to make. When Mohit started that company, I was with him. I still remember that discussion in the Grand Hyatt on the dining table in the morning where Zop Hop started, correct? So that was actually something which was far out. You were still with CarWale. You were still doing what you were doing, but you believed in this problem, so you wanted to make this happen. And you literally brought me in and saying, hey, can we start this, How did all this happen and why buses?
Yeah. So, less than 3% people in this country own a car. Less than 3%, right? And look at what we have. I'm glad it's 3% and not like 18% in China, 90% in US. And another 2 or 3% people can afford a cab. Cabs are at 40 rupees per kilometer. Our buses are running at 1 rupee per kilometer, 2 rupees per kilometer at best. So there's a large gap, right? Your own two-wheeler is 6, car is 12 rupees per kilometer. So there's a big gap in terms of, what people can spend in this country. So if you're solving a problem using four-wheeler, which can address 5-6% population of this country, what we said we will never be able to solve. Mr. Henry Ford was a visionary to give us cars, but I think with cars we traded so much of our life, in terms of just some personal aspiration and privacy in that car, and what have we created for ourselves actually. I really have a guilt, selling and contributing that problem, selling cars. And therefore, we said, let's solve public transport. And you have to solve it using, mass transport, actually. And trains are really a tiny part of overall public transport system. For example, all of us Indians spend not more than $500 million in metros and local trains. $500 million, that's all we spend on trains. We spend $10 billion on autos, and we spend $25 billion on buses. So buses are so large. And you got to go and look at that and do something about it.
So let me give some numbers. So apparently Chalo today does 4.5 million tickets a day.
Yeah.
A day. That's more than 1 billion a year. It does, just look at the numbers. And they believe they've only scratched the surface at the moment.
That's
There's
right.
a lot more to do.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Not just in India, globally.
Globally, that's right.
So it is a very big problem. So what do you exactly do in buses? Because there's a lot of confusion. When I talk to people about Chalo, they say, red bus. Okay, and then they say, no, shuttle. So maybe you need to tell people what you do differently and what do you do.
Sure. No, Redbus is a great company. They solve intercity reserve ticketing. And you want to go from Bombay to Goa, Delhi to Shimla, Bangalore to Mysore, you can go to Redbus and buy a ticket. Shuttle was trying to do an IT employee transportation, morning, evening. You can take a AC bus and commute. But this is not where India was traveling, actually. Those 150 million Indians who come out of the house and take a daily bus is a very different bus, actually. The thing is, we live in Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore, and we think government run the buses. The reality is that 70% of buses in this country, and India has 5 lakh buses, are run by small private operators. Each operator owns 1 or 2 buses. This is where India is really traveling. So we don't think that it's a blind spot most of us have. So these people, when they go and take this bus, they wait at the bus stop, typically for 30 minutes every day. Just the money value of the time people spend at bus stop is $50 billion in this country. Assuming salary is 15,000, 20,000 rupees a month, then that's the value, right, of the money, of the time you spend at the bus stop. They do not know when the bus will come. So first thing Chalo does is solve that. We show you where exactly the bus is and when it will come to your bus stop. That's the number one thing we do. The second thing we do is, and we track some 12,000, 13,000 buses now every day. The second thing we do is, bus is a daily use case. You take it 30, 40, 50, 60 times in a month, but there's no way for anyone to buy a monthly pass or a travel plan. There's nothing in our life that we use every day which is not on a subscription. From a Netflix to your mobile phone to whatever you use daily, there's a subscription, but not for buses. And what Chalo did was to build a solution for someone to buy a daily ticket or a weekly pass or a monthly pass based on just exactly what you need. So these are the 2 things we do. We solve where your bus is, and we make it easier for you to travel inside that bus. There's a lot to be done behind that to just make these 2 things happen, but I'll take a pause.
So let's continue on the thought process, because I want to specifically come on the product, since it's the product enclave. So you just didn't build an app.
Yeah,
it's actually an iceberg.
What we do is 2 things. One is to solve the reliability where your bus is. People do not travel by bus because they don't know when their bus is, what time it will come, and where it will reach. So one is reliability. We tell you where your bus is, what time it will come, and where you're supposed to reach. We will tell you what time you will reach, okay? It's on the app. Second is the experience. When you go inside the bus, nobody wants to travel in the bus because bus is the only industry where you take change, right? अभी तो सब UPI पे हो गया है, सब लोग transaction कर रहे हैं mobile पे, but bus is the only industry left where you are carrying the chutta. And then there's a lot of pilferage. So when we talk about bus and 5 lakh buses in the market, there are pilferage problem, one is. Second is the chutte problem. Third is it's not digitized. So we have created the full stack platform wherein when you get inside the bus, you have everything digital or the card. And in Bombay, we recently implemented Chalo in Bombay on 3,700 buses, wherein the entire model is on the tech stack. So we tell you where your bus is. And second is we have around 71 offers for you. So 70 kinds of travel plans we offer you so that each and every category can travel on those passes. And cards, or we just launched NCMC also, which is Mr. Modi's dream, National Common Mobility Card, We are the only one company in this country which has successfully launched NCMC on buses. And there are around 100 buses, hop in, hop off.
Yeah, go ahead.
Every day we are changing the number. Around 100 buses, hop in, hop off, wherein you get inside the bus and tap in and tap out. Conductorless buses. We do not call it conductorless because conductor will feel कि हमारी नौकरी जाने वाली है. But third thing we do is the welfare of entire crew. Then training and welfare of them. Because the crew is most disrespected community when it comes to bus. So we do a lot of training, a lot of welfare activities for their children, for their families, their incentive plans so that pilferage can go down, then PF, ESIC, medical insurance. These are the things which we are doing for crew, which solves the long-term problem rather than, okay, not thinking about the entire community. That's how we are solving the entire ecosystem so that it can run effectively and people can come inside the buses, so increasing the ridership.
So Mohit, you were talking about the stack. Priya also just mentioned it. And there's a product community out here. How is this product stack built, one? And the second thing, how is this product stack different from the CarWale product stack, for example? What is different?
Yeah, it's hugely different. You know, we were talking about a deep tech here a while back. Every day, to make sure that when you click on the app and you see where exactly the bus is, we process more than 1 billion ETA, you know, every day. And what we deliver is like a 99% accuracy on the ETA of what time the bus will come. And that's not easy to do because none of these things are available. You know, go not only a tech stack, full tech stack, from a GPS deployment, you know, to the ticketing machine where the conductor carries used to be a 32 MB RAM, a thermal printer attached to a calculator. We moved on to build a spec'd out 1 GB RAM ticketing machine with every sensor and all of that. That's one part of it. The ticketing, it sounds very easy to give a ticket in the bus, but did you imagine, right, why everything is moved to UPI and there's a machine, there are 4 machines lying on every shop counter when we go, but there's none on the buses. The reason is buses, for example, buses do have intermittent network. So you cannot rely on a network or internet to go and do a transaction. For example, whatever we build has to work offline. So while you can buy a ticket before getting on the bus, it's get validated offline. As an anecdote, you know, if I remember, Paytm and PhonePe had a contract with BST to deploy mobile ticketing, and they were doing it for 1.5 or 2 years. The penetration for digital ticketing, and what is these companies can't do, and what have they really done already in this country, you know, in terms of digital payments, they were processing less than 1% tickets because it's so difficult to scan a QR code and then go to a conductor and in a moving bus and it's crowded and the conductor is going to do a line of sight with your QR code. That's not going to work. So we enabled it to work not just without a line of sight, with a like sound QR code, for example. We also made sure that you do not have to go and scan anything. Besides the conductor hanging a machine on his neck, right? It has to work with a full backend system for reconciliation and so on and so forth. So the whole payment tech is so differentiated and built literally ground up. We do not have anything like this around the world. We speak to so many companies. People have built it very, very differently for the rest of the world, actually.
So how many thousand people are there in your tech team?
How many people are there in the tech team?
How many thousand people are there? You did something pretty big and you're doing thousands of buses.
Priya, hire all those people. She should say how many people we have. Until recently, how many we had and how many we have now. Huh?
Last time I met one of the minister to pitch Chalo, and he came all the way from one city to Bombay to see the entire Chalo stake. And he asked the same question. He touched our machine. He said, "It is so sleek." I said, "Yeah, sir." And he started asking about the configuration and, you know, where we have ordered this
You're
machine
educated
from.
ministers now, correct?
He's very educated, like, respect. So then he said, how many people in the tech team? Like, who works on the tech? I said, "Sir, we have an internal team." He said, "Yeah, how many people?" I said, "Sir, 45. And he said, no, I'm not talking about this 45 people. Just tell me which is the agency where your tech stake is." I said, "No, sir, this is the only tech team." And he couldn't believe. He said, "Are you serious? Like, 45 people are doing this kind of work?" Because I think it's amazing. Because when I pitch to public sector people, because we are working with some officers who are like Best is one of the greatest example. We're in very progressive government people, and we have this notion about government that they work in a different fashion, but they're very progressive, very, very progressive officers these days. And when this entire model works, they're very happy. They're very impressed because we are solving the integrated solution. We are giving them integrated solution, wherein everyone is asking for everything all together. So they do not want to deal with 4 vendors. कि यार कोई machine लाए, कोई ticketing करे, कोई track करे, कोई और conductor drivers का training करे. They want one person, and that's what I guess worked for Chalo.
Yeah.
So when
The whole of Bombay, Chalo. Correct? You can't see anything except Chalo. How many people or how much percentage is users?
30% of all people who travel in Bombay buses now use Chalo app every day. And I'm very proud of it. You know, we have people coming, showering so much love.
yeah.
There are people who have come to all our office in Gadeshi. They bought modak for us actually. You know, saying that you don't know how much easy you
have
made for us.
life.
And there's somebody who told me that when they used to get the last bus, it was so difficult to leave the bus stop because you don't know when the bus will come and you will miss it. You know, bus chhoot jayegi, right? We have a quote on that now, huh? Wah bus nahi chhutti. Or you know, you can go, bus nahi chhutti. Yeah, that's right.
So let me ask you, flip this around. You know, you made a first company, then you made a second company. I'm sure you knew what not to do, at least in the second one. But one thing you did was you built a very strong and diverse team. And there were a lot of people who had worked with you before. So did you look at loyalty as a more important trait, or did you look at their capability as a trait? And I want Mohit to answer that, not you, not the chief person's officer.
I want to ask a counter question. I want to counter you. Why can't loyal people be competent, or competent people
It's
can
for you to
not
answer.
be
It's
loyal?
for me to question. It's for you to tell me the answer.
Because you are separating two
No,
things.
I'm not. I'm just saying that
Competent
people will say
can be
कि
loyal.
भाई पहले
You
भी
are
उसी
telling,
के-
you are telling that competent people cannot be loyal. Is this true?
But I'm not saying one is true or the other. Like it's like a tourism
But you
argument.
separated both.
No, I'm just saying that you got too many people from that company. You poached them,
Without,
which wasn't fair.
we haven't poached anyone.
Spoken like that's why I was telling Priya, don't answer as the chief person.
They were not our
No, I
Mohit,
take
you
it
answer.
personally.
They were,
You know,
by the time I left CarWale, there were 11 or 12 people in the leadership team. I literally handpicked 2. And you know, sort of worked with them for a while for them to really understand, realize why this is so worthy of their lifetime to solve. You know, because in India, it doesn't take 4 or 5 years to build a company. It takes 10 and sometimes longer, right? 15. We are still seeing so many companies around which are being built, right? I remember when I was building CarWale, Make My Trip was getting built, right? It got IPO'd in what, 2010, right? And then we have seen, you know, how long it takes to really build these companies. And therefore, you want people to be there for a very, very long time. And, you know, the companies go through this whole sine curve all the time. If you don't have that, and I come to appreciate the loyalty a lot more, to be honest, you know, a lot more, right, than I would normally.
I am competent.
I would normally, and especially,
And-
especially in the early days
We
of the
need to
company,
have this
early days
discussion.
of the business, right, I would even say that commitment is a lot more important than the competence because, you know, you are not solving, you're not looking at experts in the early days of the business. You're looking at people who will just throw themselves completely and whatever it takes, they'll sacrifice, you know, I hope they don't, but they'll sacrifice their health, their family time, they sacrifice everything to go and build something, right? So the commitment is really, really important. And especially if you're going to spend 10, 12 years, at least you want a bunch of people, 5 or 10% of the people to stay for that journey. Today, you know, a lot of people can come and give 2 years of great contribution and leave, and that's fine. But some pillar has to be there for a very, very, very long time, right? So, and after, by the way, after Priya and Dhruv came to Chalo, so many more people followed from CarWale. Maybe they didn't follow me well enough, but once they came on board, there's so many who were just coming after that actually.
no, we also chose.
Okay, fine.
I chose like 3 people out of like 15 people. It's nice, right? You should just pick best of the people, and you should pitch them, right? Because if you don't pitch, it took one person to join me after 3 years, and she was my best girl, and I had to pitch her that this is your future lies, and she joined, which is a good thing, and she is loyal.
So what was easier, the first company or the second?
Which one is?
What was easier, building the first
Okay.
company or the second?
Yeah, Priya, I should say, what is your perspective?
First company I didn't realize because I was not, since beginning I have seen him doing experiments and I just kept on funding and whatever money I had and supporting ki, okay, whatever you want to do. But second is real challenge, which I think it's really overwhelming sometimes because it's very difficult, complex business model. And I think our people also feel that way because whenever, now though I have started talking to them in induction, guys, you're going to feel overwhelmed in 1 month. Please don't
Ghabrana
worry.
mat, huh?
Please don't worry, it's going to be all right. We all feel like fail because most of the time I hear this, that I feel like failing. I'm not able to do what I want to do. And because so much, the entire model is like spread up like a buffet. You don't know what to pick, what to leave, and everybody is like so many things we have to do, and dreams, aspirations. Because when people come to Chalo, they think that they are going to change the world, right? Because it's social impact problem. So if it is a social impact problem, you are not a Gandhi, right? And you don't feel when you come. You feel after 1 or 2 months ki ab to matlab this is not going to be easy, which is like fun of it. And we understood and we tell our people, it's okay, it's all right. We all feel the same, but we need to get up every day and we need to move 2-3 things, not the 5 things. It's okay, it's okay. So this happens, very normal feeling in Chalo.
So I have to ask you this proverb, the big question, which is the elephant in the room, that you are also a couple, you're married, you have 2 beautiful children who I have the pleasure of knowing. Do the kids feel you bring the bus home?
Always.
Or you come back on the bus
mein ghar
every
jate
night?
hain
Every night?
Always, always.
So do you take work home?
Yes, I do. I do.
I think our
I do
life,
all the time.
to be honest, we never compartmentalized
Yeah.
work versus our personal life. We never compartmentalized ever, actually, to be honest. My best friends have been my co-founders, and
I know you all go to Goa so often. I'm so
yeah,
jealous of you.
my kids are, they are such good friends. For example, a lot of things they will not tell us. They'll go and tell,
Soumya, probably.
Soumya or Dhruv or Vinayak, and so on and so forth, right? So our life has been one cohesive unit, and I love that about it. It was there in CarWale, it's there, and that's how we live. On the earlier part, right, when you sold one company and you build another one thing which is very clear is that your risk appetite is very high. I would not worry about failing. In fact, after selling CarWale, I thought if I build something now, it has to last beyond 100 years. What's the point of solving something for next 5-10 years, right? What's the worry about this fade? This is there, this is there. We said let's solve something so fundamental, and which can really go on for generations. And yeah, I think but while we are a couple, actually, I don't think we ever. I think it's a huge advantage because the companies are going to go through the cycle. One, you understand each other much better, and the second thing, if you can make the marriage work, you can take care of the startup for sure. Right? We've been married for 22 years, known each other for 26, 27 years actually, and again, everybody will know it, right? If you're married here, that you go through all of it, right?
I think हम साथ में ही काम करते तो हमें पता ही नहीं चलता कि शादी अच्छी चल रही है क्योंकि यदि हिंदी समझ आती है आपको क्योंकि यदि शादी रियल टेस्ट हो गया क्योंकि you work every day and he is my boss. Other day my daughter was asking, who is your boss? I said, Papa. And he said, okay, who is Papa's boss? So I gave her answer. And then he said, okay. Because she keeps seeing both of us. My son has grown up like this. And I think it's very normal. It's just normalize this thing that 2 people who are husband and wife can work together and they can live a good life, happy life. Happy is, I think, overrated. Happiness is overrated. You should be happy because it is center of everything. But it's just not nice always to be happy because इधर 9 रस है. आपने यदि हिंदी में पढ़ा होगा 9 रस है. 9 तरह के 9 emotions हैं आपके. Why do you want to be happy all the time? Right? Sometimes you should be angry. Sometimes you should be frustrated. Sometimes you should be depressed also. Right? You have to go through all the emotions. And we both go through all the emotions and we believe that we need to work it out because the fundamentals are same maybe. I don't know. I have no answer of this elephant in the room because office maybe people never feel like we hardly eat together, we hardly go together, come together. We have different cars, different friends at work, and it's just work flawlessly so far till
So
today.
I think I can answer this debate very quickly.
There is no debate.
तीसरी कंपनी साथ करोगे कि नहीं?
भैया यही तो पूरी हो जाए.
I think PK Chalo is so large as a vision and as a problem to solve. Unless, if I had to ask anyone, how far is your home from airport? People invariably answer 1 hour, 1.5 hour, 40 minutes. Nobody says 10 kilometers, 15 kilometers. We start measuring distance and time, right? Unless we bring it back and say, it's 10 kilometers, and therefore, it's 10 minutes. Chalo is not done. I think we are here to solve this, and this will take, Chalo as a company will run after you stop working and I stop working, and our generation will change, right? It will still be on because it's so fundamental to solve. So I don't think we need to go into one more. The first company when we sold, it was such a tiny, it was good exit then, but it was so tiny. We came out of it very hungry. We knew we could have played a longer game. We knew we could have built it much, much bigger. And we were sort of short exchange. So you come out of very hungry, and we picked up something.
Well, there's still Bangalore to solve, correct?
Yeah, basically, we have Bangalore to solve, we have Bombay to solve.
But to answer your
any
question,
small city you go to,
inshallah,
there's a
we
problem
will
to
work.
solve.
Even third, fourth, fifth, whatever.
It's so good to hear, You're not just great friends, I also sit on your board, so
Yes,
it's very
yes.
nice
No,
to hear all that.
100% PK.
I'll report it to the rest of the board very soon. Mohit, Priya, thank you so much for this candid conversation. Thank you so much. And Priya, sorry to provoke you, I thought that just made it more interesting.
We should talk about
Thank
it.
you.
Can
Thank
I
you
take
very
this?
much.
You want to take the selfie or should?
We will take a selfie.
Yes, okay.
We'd also like to request PK to please present.
There's also a formal picture, Mohit.
I'd like to request PK to present both Priya and Mohit with a small token of our appreciation. Request you all to please give them a big round of applause once again. A truly inspiring story. I'd also like to thank PK for chairing both those sessions.